Hello everyone, thanks for joining me for another plan with me. This week I am switching things up and using a kit that's designed for the Hobonichi Weeks. This kit is from LetsPlanIt. It includes the 2 Hobonichi Weeks pages, this gorgeous freebie that I got on the new release weekend that matches the kit, and I'm using a sheet of deco. This kit actually had 3 sheets of deco, but I decided to use the more kind of Thanksgiving fall-ish theme page for this layout. Alright, let's get started. As you can see, I've sketched out a little bit of a layout. This is just to kind of help me place the stickers and maximize the space. So I did draw out a little bit of a layout, just giving myself a general idea of where I want to put the stickers before I started this spread, so it gives me a little bit of direction. I start by putting in the washi at the top there and just cutting down the slim washi and layering it, leaving myself a little bit of space to the right so that I can write the week number. I kind of just like to keep track of that, so that's something I will come in and write later. And on the left side of the page is where I'm going to work on the days of the week. So just putting in the day covers, the to-do lists, and then the little post-it notes, which we'll use for important events or priorities for that day. I did intend to draw out all the lines, but then when I started the spread, I thought, you know what, maybe we'll just go in and draw just the corners and see how that looks. And I did like how it looked, so I went with that. Sometimes I find it's nice to have all the borders drawn out, and then other times it's nice to go with a more minimal look. And for this particular spread, I liked the way that it looked with just the minimal lines, so that's what I went with. The beauty of having a bullet journal is that you can just decide on that anytime, and you can switch it up depending on the layout that you use. I think that's probably the thing that drew me the most to bullet journals, is just the ability to change my layout week by week. So, last week I did a full week layout with each day taking up a full column, and now this week I'm doing more of a condensed week. It really just varies, and I just love having that flexibility and not worrying that I'm stuck with a whole, a particular layout for an entire year. When I first started planning, I was in a Happy Planner, and then I used an Erin Condren Life Planner for a while. And although the vertical spreads and layouts are definitely one that I enjoy using, it's nice to just be able to switch it up anytime I want. And so that is why I've been in a bullet journal for the last year and a half, almost 2 years. I think it's been almost 2 years now. So now I've got all my lines drawn, and I'm going to go and put those date covers in. For this kit, the date covers are one long strip because it is designed for the Hobonichi Weeks, but thankfully the lines are super easy to cut, so I just went in and quickly cut the Monday so that I could place it, see how it looks, and then I will just go ahead and trim all the rest, which you do not need to watch me do. So now that I have all the dates cut, I can just go in and quickly put them in. You can see here that I'm using tweezers just to help me line them up properly. The stickers are not super small, but I don't know, I must just have really large fingers, but I just find that they get in the way when I'm trying to place them. And the tweezers definitely just add a level of finesse when you're putting little stickers like this in. So that's why you will see a lot of times I do use tweezers to help me place stickers. So then I go in and put in the checklists so that I can have 3 top to-dos for each day. And I mean, normally I do try to accomplish more than that, but there are days where when I have so many things to do, it feels a little overwhelming, and I tend to shuffle them around. So this week I'm trying to just give myself a little bit of grace and put in just 3 to-dos for each day. If there's something else that is important, needs to get done, I can always put it on the little post-it notes that come with this kit as well, because I'm not going to have an event happening every day. Things have slowed down quite a bit since the pandemic started, so I don't have as much going on. And even for work right now, I'm working from home, so there's not any sort of work outings happening as well. I'm sure a lot of people are in the same boat, so it's just relatively quiet. So that's kind of nice because then it just gives you an extra space to track important priorities for that day. So I've definitely been taking advantage of that. You can see here I kind of just offset the post-its a little bit, so like lean it a little to the left, a little to the right. I just like the way that looks. Sometimes I put them straight, but I don't know. I like them when they kind of look, the way that post-it notes would look in real life in my office, just kind of everywhere. Then I go in and put these headers to the side. So there's a header for this week, do this shit, cleaning, and next week. And you can see they do come with kind of a long black bar on the side, which if you were using the Hobonichi Weeks, it would just cover the page. But because I'm using it in a smaller space, I just trim it off. What I do is I line it up with one of the dots on the grid, and then I just mark it with a pencil and cut it quickly. Super easy. Then I go in and put a checklist for this week, and then the next one will be do this shit, which I love. I know it's a little bit crude, but I don't know. There's something about that label that just makes me feel more willing to do it. Almost like I'm yelling at myself, like, these things must get done. So under this week, that's where I will put any events or appointments happening this week. And then under do this shit is where I will put the major priorities for this week. So those would be any items that like absolutely have to get done. And then the freebie that I got during the new release weekend had this great little quote box. So I put that in there, and it says, "You will harvest what you plant." And I just thought that was a really great quote, and it fit perfectly in that space. And then at the bottom, I just put the cleaning header. There aren't any more checklists, but I kind of like leaving that one open, and I'll probably just go in and draw my own checklist boxes underneath. So I don't mind not having the checklist for that one. Alright, so now we will move over to the right side of the page. For this one, I decided to start at the bottom and work my way up. I had already kind of pre-spaced it out, so I knew the direction that I wanted to go. So I start with the habit tracker at the bottom. What's really nice about this is that the 3 habit trackers come together in one nice strip. So it's just one sticker, super easy to place. And then I put the large post-it note just to the side, and for that one I will put the next week header, which I just have to trim down. I had to cut it a couple of times because the first time that I cut it, the edges were still just a little too long, and I kind of wanted it to match up so that it didn't overhang on either side. So you can see when I tried to place it, it was still just a little too long, so I took it back, trimmed a little bit more off, and then it fit perfect. But I just plan on using that little post-it there to mark anything that I need to remember for the following week. And then at the top, or I guess just above that, my plan was to put an expense tracker. One of the things that I'm really trying to put a big focus on in my life is finances. My husband and I, we make a decent amount of money, but we're just really bad at managing it and have been for quite a while. I think prior to having my daughter, we were surviving just because we had a really nice cushy savings account. And so, any mishaps that we had with our finances where we overspent, we would just fall back on the savings account, and it was always there and it always saved us. And then I went on mat leave, and it was great to take the year off and be with my daughter, and I have no regrets about that, but we definitely ate into our savings quite a bit just because you don't make the same being on mat leave as you do working. And so coming out of that, we really had to face, just how bad at spending we really are. So one of the biggest things that I'm really trying to work on is knowing where my money is going. So looking at our spending habits, what we tend to spend money on, areas where we can cut down. One of them, I would say the biggest areas where we are big spenders is coffee. We like going out for coffee. So we've been really trying to focus on making coffee at home. And another thing is just reviewing our subscriptions. There were so many things we were subscribed to that we weren't even using. So just trying to keep a close eye on that and managing that a bit better. So I decided that it would be good to start putting in a weekly expense tracker. I have been tracking them separately, but I just find that when it's written down and it's right in your face, especially as the week is kind of going, if you've spent a lot at the beginning of the week and you keep looking at it, then by the end of the week, you might be tempted to be a bit more frugal because you're like, wow, look at how much I've already spent this week. So that was my goal there. We will see if that works. Then I just go in and fill out the weekly number at the top. For this, I am using the Tombow Fudenosuke pen with the soft tip. Another thing I'm trying to work on is my brush lettering, so I haven't been able to master it yet, but I think this one in particular turned out pretty well. Next, I'm going to go and start filling in some of the script stickers, just with things that I know are coming up for this week, like payday, when I plan on doing laundry next, groceries, and then Sunday is always a cleaning day, so I always stick that sticker there because that is the day that both my husband and I are not working, so we tend to tackle the most cleaning on that day. Then I thought about putting the weekend banner in, but I had also thought about putting in some highlighters for the to-do lists, and I figured if I put the weekend banner down, then it would be much harder to do that, so I put the sticker back and then decided to go in and fill out the highlighted lines before putting that down, just so that it wouldn't look awkward trying to do it around that sticker. So again, for this, I picked out my ruler just to try to keep the lines straight. You'll see a bit later when I go back and do the expenses and fill in those lines, I freehanded it because I just didn't feel like using the ruler anymore. So pick and choose, I guess. For this, I am using the gray zebra mild liner. I really like the zebra mild liners. The gray one in particular gets a lot of use just because gray is a color that works with tons and tons of spreads, but they do have a wide variety of colors and they work really well on all kinds of different pages. So definitely the highlighters that I tend to use. So yeah, I just go in and highlight the rows just to give myself a space to write in the to-dos and try to keep myself straight, even though in the doc grids it's usually relatively easy, but for some reason I always still end up crooked. And then once I have got all those lines drawn in, I can go and put the weekend banner in. The nice thing about using the tweezers is you can play around with where you want to position stickers. It's really easy to visualize because the tweezers are so thin that you can just hover the sticker over a space and see if you think it would look good before placing it. LetsPlanIt stickers are really great for being removable anyways, but it does help to just be able to kind of hover the sticker over, because you can see I try to place it in a few different spots just to see how it would look, and then I end up going back to the original spot that I think I tried to place it before, as that one just seemed the best for space. So then I just go back to that deco page and place these glasses above the expenses. I just felt like there needed to be something a little more there. And as you can see, I just go and freehand the lines here. So they actually ended up relatively straight. I'm pretty proud of myself for that, but I just thought, there's a lot of lines there and I really didn't feel like bringing out my ruler for that. So I freehanded. The end got a little bit wonky, but other than that, I feel like it turned out pretty well. Now I grab my eraser and just start erasing the pencil lines so that I can complete the spread. This eraser I actually got from an art store back when I was taking painting lessons, and it's honestly the best eraser I have ever had. It just erases so well and it never smudges anything, so I would definitely recommend if you are a bujoer and you use erasers a lot of the time, to get like an actual artist eraser, because it definitely works the best. And now I'm just going in with my white jelly roll. I am using a size 10, and I'm just adding some little kind of side notches, similar to how I did the weekly spread, just to kind of tie everything together, and also adding a little bit of, I guess, shadowing, even though it's a white marker, but some highlighting under the headers there on the left hand side, and just kind of trying to tie things in a bit. And then I can go in and finish erasing all of the pencil marks on the left hand side as well. I always leave those in until kind of right at the end. I probably could have erased them earlier, but just in case I wanted to switch something up, or if I decided I did want to draw in all those white lines after, I just leave those in until I'm completely finished. And then once I'm done erasing, the spread is completed. So I hope that you enjoyed watching this plan with me. I know it's a little different, but turned out great.